Hello, everyone, and welcome to the wonderful launch of Leadership in Construction with prolific author Elinor Moshe. Hello, Elinor.
Hi, Karen. Incredible to be here. Thank you.
Well done. Book two in the bag and
Book
launched into
two.
the world. Yes, I'm so proud of you. And for anyone watching who doesn't know me, my name's Karen Mc Dermott. I'm a publisher at KMD Books, and Eleanor is one of our amazing authors. Can you hold the book up there, Eleanor? It's hot off the press, isn't it?
Very hot off the press.
So, Eleanor, let's get right to it and let's talk about the magic of your book launch last night.
It was magic. There is no other word that could do justice to the energy of what it feels like to truly give someone a copy of your own book in their hands and to watch them, look at it and actually be excited to be there. It is such a precious moment in the book journey and, seeing their faces and answering their questions on the curiosity as to how it was, what it actually took to get here. I mean, someone even asked, did you even plan how many centimeters, the gold bar is? Like, their curiosity was just beautiful. And to be able to release the book with that much interest and also that much energy behind it is truly a special experience, and one that you get to truly pause and reflect and actually read the book, because I was flicking through and I'm like, hey, these are pretty good sentences. I wonder who wrote this. But it's different. We haven't been reading it, we've been editing it. And again, to experience that with industry leaders as well, people who have a shared vision and shared standards and shared goals, it truly adds so much fuel to the mission and, of course, the purpose of this book. So, an absolute magical night. It's a great night when you have no photos on your phone.
I was like, Eleanor, where's the photos? I need evidence here, but
None.
it'll come. It'll come.
It'll come. I had a photographer, so she did an amazing job. So I'm, of course, looking forward to sharing that experience with the community.
And that is it. Capturing it in visuals helps other people who couldn't be there. And it's all wonderful having, our celebration here, and so people who couldn't be at the physical launch can celebrate here with you on a live interview. But there's nothing like a physical launch to be able to be in a room, celebrate the book. It's all about the book and these words coming to life. And you said it there. Look, scrolling through it on a screen, digital eyes, get square eyes. When you've got the book in your hand, you can smell it, you can feel it, you can read it. It's a whole another experience. You go, did I write that? Wow, I'm pretty good.
Yeah, yeah, it's exactly the
Oh,
thoughts. It's you want to be proud of your own work at the end of the day, right? It has your name to it, and being able to reflect and think that these words are going to have an impact with other people. Again, it's why we do what we do.
absolutely, absolutely. So, just a curveball question here that you didn't know was coming. Was it easier second time round?
No, no, look, different, right?
Yeah, different
Different
book.
because, yeah, it's not an apple to apple comparison. I mean, of course, the first book was challenging as a whole because it's your first book and you're going into so many unknowns. But then, of course, the second time you're still going with unknowns and you're just thrown different curveballs and different challenges. But the essence of the book is about leadership, and that is what the whole process actually requires you to do, is step up into that leadership in function, not just in theory. So was it more, yeah, it was just different this time around. And reflecting back, I wouldn't have it any other way because it makes for a great story.
The story around the book, and we were talking backstage about this. Your first book is about constructing your career, but the second book is about leadership in construction. And in any leadership journey, it's a journey, and you're going to have the ups and downs and different challenges that are relevant to the journey that you're on, but approaching those challenges and not giving up and surging forward is all part of the journey. So to stick with it to the end and then have the celebration, at the end, which what you did have last night. So what leadership lessons did this book journey teach you, Eleanor?
Good question. the key one is protecting the vision. At
Mm,
the end of the day, no one is going to pave the path forward for you. No one is going to believe in your vision and what this means to you more than the person who actually conceived it. Of course, having that support circle is key, and they are pivotal to making the vision come into fruition. But trusting in the vision is something that, again, it's easy to say, but it's not that easy to do, especially when there's curveballs along the journey from writing to contributors, the whole lot. So believing that, even if I don't release it in December, it'll come out in March, it still will serve its purpose. It's always believing in that end goal, that vision. And, the vision with the book isn't complete. It's only on day one, technically. So
yeah,
I truly learned how to protect and nurture the vision from, energy that wasn't conducive to supporting the vision, and being allowed to let that go from the book as well. I think that was important. I learned
yeah,
energy management. I mean, again,
yeah.
the concepts, but then when you're actually in the thick of it. So when I was writing, I had many times where I was truly blocked myself. And as you are familiar with the writing process, it's not a push type of force. You can't just, sit there and no matter how hard you try, if the words don't come, the words don't come. But in the writing process, what I realized I was also doing at times was burning the candle from both ends. And that isn't conducive to amazing content. So I had
Yeah.
to learn how to nurture the energy, feed the energy, and then be able to flow with the energy, especially when writing. I learnt the importance of faith over fear. Again, we know this, and there's been so many times in our respective careers where we do practice faith over fear, but even if it's at the 90th second or whatever that saying is,
The
it's
11th
always
hour.
11th hour. I always forget that one. Why do I go with seconds? 11th hour, you always remember that, you know what? It will come into place. And yesterday was just this beautiful flow of events. And I also truly learned, again, not learned, you have more, you have different experiences with these leadership lessons. That's better put. The importance of the support circle, you and, Caroline and Ron, my mentors, and people that supported the event, and, my parents and everyone who came. It is such a beautiful thing to have that support. And we know we do need it. We don't need to wear this armor of independence and, think that, of course, I can do it all. You go on an emotional roller coaster with the process as well. And being able to lean into a truly strong support network has been absolutely incredible and also invaluable. And it shows you how far you can go with the right people on your team. So I'm grateful for the journey of the book, which has given me the, more experiences under these leadership lessons.
Yeah, you are a true advocate, aren't you, for having the right people around you to really elevate you and support you to where you're going. But you also support and elevate. It's a win-win scenario. It's not just a one-sided thing, but everyone becomes so connected that everyone shows up no matter what. And that's the thing, and it is about connections, isn't it? Connection is a big part of leadership.
Agree. Like, what could be done in isolation? I mean, the
Mhm.
sheer word to lead means there are other people around you. And it also requires us to allow to be led, relinquishing that ability. I don't publish books every day, but you do. Even having the ability to just relinquish to the experts, it's also something that we have to learn. And this can make people who have the vision and like to be in control uncomfortable, but that's the whole point. That is what experience actually looks like with, defining your own leadership. And again, it's a fool's game to think that you can just do everything by yourself. You actually can't. And this is where people, again, wear that armor, or they say, I don't need the best people on your team. You absolutely do need the best of the best people on your team. And again, magic happens.
It does. We're all about magic here, and that's a very big part of the faith process. And like, trust me, it's all going to come together. Let's just keep making it happen, and it always does, doesn't it? But you have to have that faith over fear, as you talk about. It's so important in leadership to have that.
If not us, if we're not the ones believing, then what can we expect of people who choose to follow us?
Yeah,
We
absolutely.
it doesn't actually make sense.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. We have Peace Mitchell here who says, "Congratulations, Eleanor."
Thank
I
you,
love it when,
peace.
yeah, she's amazing. So, let me just find my other question. Here we go. Why is this book important for the construction industry?
There's a lot of misconceptions around what leadership is, and when we're talking about leadership in construction, it does faze me and also surprise me that we are still having to educate people that management is not leadership, and leadership is not something that is exclusive to the domain or the relationship between an employer and an employee. That is such narrow mindedness, and that is such conventional limiting ways that adds to the distress of the construction industry instead of actually getting them to the industry to realize its potential. And there is no more pressing time than right now. The industry is such at a pressure point, it's a pressure pot, and it all starts and ends with leadership. But the intelligence and the wisdom and the knowledge around leadership needs to be redefined, redesigned, and reinvigorated. Because as long as people have such conventional and narrow and tactical based approach to leadership, then the industry will never reach its full potential because the individuals themselves will not realize their full potential. And for as long as people marry leadership with a title, then you are forever waiting on things outside of you to come and grant you that. Instead of you saying, you know what, I am the person who's going to step up to the plate. I am the person who's going to disrupt. I'm going to start with leading me, which is constructing you, part one, instead of actually waiting. What are you waiting for? No one as a leader is going to come and save you. No one's going to come save you, full stop, whether you're a leader or not.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
this book is here to take that principle based approach. A principle is a set of beliefs, and these are the universally applicable set of principles which allow anyone in any position. Has nothing to do with positions, it has everything to do with ambition, it has everything to do with courage, it has everything to do with character, in order to say, I am going to lead, I am going to be the person who will cause the disruption. And also, when we look at the leadership conversation, a big part that is always missing when it does take that tactical approach is has to start with personal leadership. People want to see leaders who can succeed for themselves. That's why we look to leaders to say, hey, you've done this. How can I go there? How can I go where you have actually gone? But no one, 90% of people in the world don't actually want to express personal leadership, because what that requires them is to first and foremost do is challenge their own actions, their own behaviors, their own belief systems. If you can't figure out what's going on in here, why you haven't earned the right to actually lead anything outside of yourself. This is the core purpose of the book, is to provide that holistic perspective and also prove that leadership has nothing to do with your seniority or experience. It has everything to do with your vision and ambition, and it has to start with you.
You
Thank
articulate it so well, Eleanor. I could listen to that all day. What an important message around this book that needs to, that needs to be heard. Do not wait for someone to give you permission to step forward and lead. Be the leader in your own life and let that ripple out in your career and your ambitions. Nobody's going to hand you down permission to do it. You have to give it to yourself, don't you?
Exactly. Exactly. And, people, when I started my leadership journey, they say, you're only 28, you're only this, you're only that. And what we always see is people projecting their limitations onto you, but they don't actually know what goes behind the scenes in order to be the leader that people see online. There is an intense amount of work that happens behind the scenes, i.e., all the time. And leadership is a way of life. It's not something that I put down and then I switch off and then I become another version of Eleanor that no one sees. No, leadership is a way of being, and it has to infiltrate every single aspect of your life. Because one thing that I do find is sometimes if you look behind the facade, there's nothing there. People are there's it's a smokescreen.
Mm,
There's a lot
yeah.
of talk. People will say they're a leader, but their actions and behaviors don't actually match what they're saying.
Yeah.
And this is, you can tell that's when people love the sexy side of leadership, the accolades, the recognition, the fanfare. That's fantastic, but they don't actually want the function of
Do they
leading.
walk their talk, Eleanor?
Yeah.
Yeah. You
And it
know?
doesn't even make sense sometimes to even be talking about this because it sounds so simple. But the
Yeah.
fact that we still need to talk about it because it's easy to say, it's not actually being done on the ground level. And that's where the actual action is always required.
You don't have to go very far to find that. You don't have to go too far, past the superficial to
Mm.
find if there's depth to someone's leadership. It's amazing and very important conversation to have around this book. And I always talk about books being that real driving force for conversation. And I cannot wait to hear the conversations you have with lots of important people about this subject, because it's not just about construction, it's about leadership, and there's so much to learn in the book. But whenever you target it for construction, an industry that can just stay in the dark ages or can move forward and really become so much more, you're a brave woman, and I love to watch your work. So there's so much to learn from you. So thank you so much, Eleanor, for firstly sticking the course to get this book out into the world, and secondly for stepping up and being the leader you are.
Thank you. Always. It's our duty. We're at the end of the day, we're duty bound.
Yes, yes, we are absolutely. So where can everyone come and find you, Eleanor?
That would be on LinkedIn. I'm Elinor Moshe, on Instagram at Elinor Moshe underscore. And of course, I think the book is on Amazon, isn't it, Karen?
It is on Amazon. We haven't really pushed it yet. We're already at number 80, so we're going for number one by the end of today. So go and grab your copy on Amazon. It's also on KMD Books. It'll be floating around everywhere. It's available to bookstores through Paribo distribution. So if you're a bookstore wanting to stock this epic book, hop on over to Paribo and order it in. So, Eleanor, keep having the conversation, being the leader that you are, and thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you, Karen.
Thank you, everyone.